Welcome back. I just released a training online. It's at meditativemellows.com, and I got a fantastic testimonial sent to me, and I wanted to read it to you, and I wanted to talk about Kundalini. So this person had a Kundalini experience in the past, and then they tried the breath work that I teach in that training, and they had another Kundalini experience. So I want to talk about what Kundalini actually is. So let's get into it. So first of all, here's the testimonial. Dear Forrest, thank you for being a living example of an authentic yogi in these days. To me, you are expressing just by your being what you are teaching. I got your 4th phase of breath training. After buying it, I started directly listening to your video till 2:30 in the morning. Now, you may be interested what has happened to me during and after the last exercise of the second breath that I teach. After practicing the second breath work that I teach, a very fine, lovely, and soft energy in the upper chakras and an expansion in the part of the body. For a very short while, it felt like there is only emptiness, filled up with this sweetness. So that's the right hippocampus. It's a very big deal, that expansive emptiness. That's our sense of self entering into the right hippocampus, experiencing the non-dual state. But directly after this, the fire of Kundalini awoke like a dragon and started to rise up to the skull. It looked as if the dragon was roaming around in the body. Immediately, my intuition showed up and started guiding me further. Slowly and softly, I refined the breath as much as I could and felt like drawing prana from the top of the skull down through the physical and subtle body and through the chakras down to the base. It took a while, but after harmonizing thus the whole system, it occurred to me, symbolically spoken, when Shiva leaves the body, then Shakti immediately goes after him, looking in every nook and corner, roaming around in the house called this body. So he has come back to her just to make her feel at ease again. She goes on to explain that she had this experience some 37 years ago, but she hasn't had it between then and now. And this breath work awakened it again, but first it gave her that primary experience in the right hippocampus. That's really what it's all about. And so as yogis, sometimes we get overwhelmed with the idea of Kundalini and we experience it and we say, this is it, I'm on the right track. And it really is a good post on your way that you are doing well, that you are interiorizing. But don't be overly concerned with the Kundalini itself. Let it wash through you, let it pass, harmonize it, as this person did beautifully. She found a sense of balance within herself. That's really, really important. You want to always self-regulate and find your way into a calm, balanced state. So there's some exercises that you can do. There's some grounding exercises that you can do. Just spending a lot of time sensing every part of the body, the left foot, the left calf, the right calf, the left knee, the left thigh, the right thigh, the stomach, the back, the chest, the arms, everything and everything, the left hand and the right hand, roaming around inside of the body with your sense of feeling inside of the body is very, very balancing. It's a very good exercise to create that balance and that ease of movement through the body. So those are some tips. But as yogis, we often get over focused on the experience of energy. And the experience of energy is lovely. And even the bliss that's in the body is lovely. But all of that is transitory, and we want to make our way all the way over into that great expanse, which is the right hippocampus. And she did it. She hit it in that first meditation. It's amazing. In that first meditation, she went all the way to that state just beautifully. And when she came back, the Kundalini was there. So let's talk about that and what that actually is. There's a great video of Michio Kaku, I hope I pronounced his name correctly, Michio Kaku, where he's talking about consciousness and feedback loops. And so in that video, and I'll have it linked below, he walks through all of the parts of the brain and he explains that all of these are sending feedback loops into the brain, into the system, especially the prefrontal cortex, which is imagining the past and then projecting that past into the future to try and anticipate the future. That's something very peculiar to humans, that we do that. Other animals do not have that function. So it's really an amazing thing. And so we have all these different systems in the brain, and they are all sending feedback loops through the system. And that's what is actually forming the personality. So it's a great talk. I really loved it. I really loved what his theory said, that we're just this bundle of awareness, and it's not one thing, it's this bundle of things which is forming us. And the person who has expressed this even more succinctly is Todd Murphy in his explanation of the binding factor. And this is based on the work of his predecessor. And what he talks about is the binding factor, which is a signal that runs from the front of the brain to the back of the brain through the thalamus. And it's passing through the brain, passing through the brain, passing through the brain every 25 milliseconds. So it's really, 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 really fast coming through the brain. And it's just taking all of these pieces and binding them together. And I'm so happy that we have Todd Murphy, because you can look up the study where they talk about that signal that goes through the brain. You can find it, but you can't understand that this is the thing which is binding all of these pieces together. So it's only because of Todd Murphy and his predecessor that we can have this kind of understanding of the brain and what's actually going on. So you know from watching my videos maybe that these pieces of the brain are projecting down into the body. It's like referred pain. So if somebody has kidney stones or they have a heart attack, there's no sensory nerves in that part of the body. And so that part of the body, to make us aware that there's a problem, it will refer the pain somewhere else so that we can be aware that there is a problem. It's the same thing with the brain. There's no place to put the heartache in the brain, and so it projects it down into the heart. There's no place to put the fear, and so it projects it down into the body so we can understand what is going on. And then we have the visceral reaction of fear in the gut, the cold, cold fear in the gut. We all had that sensation, right, at one time or another. That's that projection from the limbic brain, from the right amygdala in particular, is projecting itself. The center of fear and doom is projecting itself into that third chakra, letting us know something's not right and we have to pay attention. So this is how the limbic brain works, how it projects into the body. That's how the chakra system works. And it's the binding factor which passes through the brain every 25 milliseconds, which is binding all of that together and making it one coherent whole. Otherwise, we would be all these broken up pieces and we wouldn't be able to function. We wouldn't be able to form ourselves correctly. So that binding factor brings them all together so we can see ourselves as a coherent whole. Isn't that amazing? So all of this are unconscious processes. Same way, you don't think about breathing your breath, and you don't think about beating your heart, and you don't think about your digestion. All of it just happens automatically through the process of the unconscious mind. All of that is regulated by the subconscious and the unconscious minds. In meditation, we are taking our attention, which is usually outward, and we're bringing it inside. And as we introspect and turn inside, these unconscious processes become more and more conscious. And so first we might become aware of our breath, which is a standard of all meditation processes. We start to watch the breath, and then we may become aware of the heart, and we may become aware of internal sounds, which are the sounds of the nervous system. We may hear it humming in the background. And so that is, all of that is the unconscious becoming conscious. And so as we get close to those internal projections, those too become conscious. We become aware of them. And this cycling of the thalamus going through the limbic system, we also become aware of that. And that is what the Kundalini awakening is. We've become aware of these internal unconscious processes of the limbic brain that bind us together, especially the thalamus. That's the one that keeps all the other pieces together and is cycling through. And so the third knot, even, we know that the third knot of Lahiri Baba is this sensation, this archetypal sensation of spiraling. And when that happens to you, you've gotten very close to the thalamus, and the unconscious process of the thalamus is becoming conscious. And so as you feel that energy moving through the system that we call Kundalini, that is the movement of intelligence by the thalamus through the different parts of the limbic brain that we call chakras. And we're becoming aware of it as it binds all those pieces together. And so it just bounces all around through the system. And it can be very disconcerting. It can be very unbalancing. Here's a beautiful key which Larry Mahasaya gave to us, and that is Om Japa in the chakras. Because we don't want to awaken and make more apparent the negative aspects of the limbic brain. We want to silence those. And so he says, go into each chakra and put an Om in there mentally, because that will help to silence it. So then you have to check, did it work? Did I find the projection, like the heart or fear? Did I find it and chant Om into it? And did it make a difference? That's how you create a relationship with these centers. And that's going to tone everything down and make it manageable and easy as these things become more conscious. We would like them conscious and clean rather than conscious and in our face, right? Does that make sense? I hope it does. And I hope you try that out. Go into the chakras and chant Om and wash them out so that when they do become very conscious, they are manageable. There's another thing going on here. As we move our attention around to the different projections, we are helping to self-manage and self-balance ourselves. So that's why I said moving your attention from the left foot to the right foot, to the left knee, to the right knee, to the left thigh, to the right thigh, to the left hand, to the right hand is very, very balancing. It's the somatic exercises that teaches us to move things around. Most importantly, our attention, and energy follows attention. And so we're self-regulating and self-balancing this internal experiences of unconscious processes which have become more conscious through the process of introspection. So I hope you love that explanation of what Kundalini actually is, because you're not really going to hear it anywhere else. It's kind of amazing. And it's really thanks to Larry Mahasaya and Todd Murphy. It's just a beautiful, beautiful thing. And thank you again to everybody for your fantastic response to the training. I'm so glad that you love it so much. Thank you, thank you. And if you'd like to check that out, I have the link below. It's Meditative Mellows. I hope you try it out. I hope you take it home. Take these 2 workhorses that I'm teaching in that presentation. Take them home. Make them your own. They're going to take you very deep, very easily. Until next time, take care.